What's up, Facebook? What's up, Instagram? OMG, you guys. Happy almost 2019. It's so funny. I always say this, that I can't believe how time fast is going. I can't believe blah, 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 how quickly it's here. And excuse me, even though I've been talking a lot lately about, I can't believe that the end, time is moving so fast. I really can't believe that the end of the year is here. It's totally blowing my mind. And I'm always finding myself this time of year getting a little bit nostalgic about the past year, sort of reflecting back on, how far I've come and perhaps even reviewing some of the intentions that I set for the beginning of the year. But this year, I have almost zero interest in looking back. I have very little interest in referring to the past. And I think that that's a really, really interesting thing, because I think that so often we do define ourselves by our past, right? We define ourselves by how far we've come. We define ourselves by the challenges or the issues or whatever it is that we've been through. And this year, for some reason, I just feel like we are stepping across a threshold and that there is no turning back. And I mean that in a very positive sense, not like the ominous, no, there's no turning back. I just mean that in the sense of I woke up this morning and was so giddy. I had so much energy. I just felt like this shift that we are moving towards now with 2019 on the horizon is kind of mind-blowing. There's something very tangible to this excitement. There's something very, palpable. And it's beyond just sort of I think the excitement that always kind of comes around whenever we know that the new year is coming. I don't know, it's really hard to describe. But today's energy transmission is all about talking about what 2019 has in tap for us, and also really specifically January, obviously, since it's 2 days away. But give me a thumbs up, give me a heart emoji, give me a unicorn, give me a poop, I don't care. Give me your favorite emoji if you are so ready for 2019, if you are so ready to move beyond 2018 and its intensity and its challenges and its lessons and its loss. And it's, that feeling like we're just in a pressure cooker for 365 days. I mean, I don't know about you, but as much as I learned in 2018, as much success as I enjoyed in 2018, as much as I experienced on a really, really deep, profound level of this, understanding myself in a way that I have, never really understood myself. There was a lot of beauty that emerged in 2018. But man, it was hard won. I feel like it was just nothing was easy this past year. Nothing was effortless. It was like a year of gut-wrenching, back-breaking, intense, deep work. And that's what makes 2019 so exciting, you guys, because 2019 is the year of forward momentum. 2019 is the year of meditation in action. It is the year of vision in action. It is the year of dreams and ideas and goals in action. It is the year of moving from inner focus and inner work to outer focus, outer action, and forward momentum. And we're going to talk all about this. We're going to talk about how putting together my bed inspired this. We're going to talk about how Jumanji, the most recent version of Jumanji, not the 90s version, although I love the 90s version with Robin Williams. This is true confession time. It's probably one of my favorite movies. And whenever Jumanji is on, I have to watch it. I love escapist movies. I love my entertainment to be fantasy. I love my entertainment to be escapist. I love it when it takes me out of the reality. And believe it or not, there is a link to the most recent version of Jumanji, which I also loved. I just watched it a couple of nights ago, the one with The Rock and what's his name, Jack Black, and the other guy, Kevin Hart, and the woman whose name I can't remember. Anyway, yes, Jumanji and putting my bed together, believe it or not, are really the big pieces of today's energy transmission. But first, I want to share with you a couple of upcoming events. This Sunday, not today, but a week from today, is the January energy transmission. This one is from 12 to 1:30. We're doing 90 minutes this Sunday, 12 to 1:30 Pacific time. It's done on Zoom as always. So when you register, you get an MP3 recording of the event. So even if you can't make it live, you get to enjoy the replay and the recording. And yes, the energy work is just as powerful on the recording as it is when we do it live. this energy transmission thing, these energy gatherings that we've been doing every month have just continued to grow and expand to get more and more powerful. And in fact, I'm going to give you a bit of an exercise that came through in the one that we just did for 12/21 this past weekend. These energy gatherings are so powerful and so wonderful and so beautiful to come together in a group to focus, to amplify, to magnify, and really anchor in some powerful, powerful energies. The one that's coming up next weekend is going to be no exception. It is really going to be a good jump start, a good kick in the butt to get us really moving forward for 2019. So this next Sunday, a week from today, 12 to 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. Again, I'll put the link in the description. It's also live on my Facebook. I'll be putting on my Instagram today. So registration is open. It's going to be amazing. They're always amazing. It's sound healing. It's intuitive insight. It's guidance. It's guided meditation. It's energy work. It's all of that just sort of wrapped up into a big, beautiful ball of energy and love and transformational stuff. It's beautiful, wonderful. So I highly recommend. And for the first time ever, I am doing my emotional architecture exercise as an online workshop, and that starts the second weekend of January. Pardon me, I have to check my calendar because I totally forgot to write down my dates. It is going to be, so January 6th is the energy transmission, and then January 13th, 20th, and 27th from 12 to 2 Pacific time. It's 3 Sundays, 2 hours each day from 12 to 2 Pacific time. And the emotional architecture is a tool that I have used for the past 3-4 years. It's something that I spontaneously sort of stumbled into several years ago. And then over the course of my client work, it has just blossomed and expanded into this beautiful, wonderful, actual, practical tool. It is your GPS system. It is your blueprint. It is your guide for how to live your life. The emotional architecture is all about creating a container for your experience, for your existence, and for your life. And it is super powerful. The emotional architecture is one of my favorite tools, and I use it a lot in the Mastery Mentorship program. And for the first time, I am doing it as an online class. I've done this class live. I did it in Seattle a couple of years ago, and I also did it in London last year at the College of Psychic Studies. And for the first time, I'm doing it as an online course. Man, this is the game changer. The emotional architecture really does give you the actual practical tools to move forward and begin to create the life that you want for yourself starting now. So again, that's 3 weekends, 13th, 20th, and 27th. So that's coming up starting the second weekend in January. You pay for the whole course, which is those 3 Sundays. Again, you get the recording. Now with this one, it's best if you can join via video. So if you join over the phone, that's fine. You just won't be able to be as interactive as you would during the video. So it's going to be discussion. It's going to be question and answer. It's going to be actual practical information to set you up for success this year. That's why I've decided to do the emotional architecture as an online course. I am super excited to share it with you. It is my favorite tool. It is my favorite method, and it is fail proof. It's amazing. So go to the link. I'll put the link again in the description. I believe it's also on my Linktree link on Instagram if you're watching this on Instagram, and I believe it's somewhere in my events on Facebook. If not, I'll be putting it on there today. So those are the announcements. Oh, and one more thing. The Mastery Mentorship course, I'm still running the discounted rate for 2 more days. So as of January 1st, the rate goes back up to the regular amount. So if you are interested in emotional architecture, if you're ready to make this transformational shift, if you are ready to get real and level up your life, then that's what Mastery Mentorship is all about. It is a 7-week course, one-on-one with me, a really deep, transformational, profound experience, and it always blows my mind. It never ceases to amaze me, the big shifts and transformation that people experience during the Mastery Mentorship course. So you sign up for your free intake call. You and I have a one-on-one conversation about if it's the right time for you to do this work, if it's right for us to partner on this program with you. And that's what it's all about. It's about really leveling you up and taking you to the place where you can really actively, consciously and deliberately create your life, reclaim that power, and really begin to move forward in a profound way. So the discount is only for 2 more days. And I'm not saying that you have to have, we're doing the program in 2 days. What I'm saying is if you register in the next 2 days, then you get the discounted rate. But on with the video, on with the January/2019 energy transmission. Because even though this is for January, this is kind of sort of the big theme for 2019. So 2019 and January sort of get a combo energy transmission. And this one is entitled, or the sort of the title that I'm giving it for 2019 is all about meditation and action. It really is. Thinking about the intensity that you experienced during 2018. Think about all of the stuff that we had to let go of, all of the stuff that we had to get clear on, all of the stuff that we had to get really real with, all of the shadow work, all of the going into those emotional depths, going into those dark places of our internal landscape that sometimes feel really scary, and we had to look at parts of ourselves that we have really, really been trying not to look at, or been trying to sort of sweep to the side or sweep under the rug. 2018 was all about, no girl, you can't get away with that anymore. 2018 was like, it's real, it's here, and you got to look at it face to face, nose to nose, and it's time for you to get really honest and clear. And we did. We did it. But what I want you to think about is, what was it for 2018 that was your vision for your life? And I talked a little bit about this, or we talked a little bit about this in the 12/21 and the solstice energy transmission. Part of the information that came through and part of the energy came through was about recalling what you want for yourself, right? Like many of us felt like I didn't have stability in 2018, or I didn't have, financial success, or I didn't feel connected to a community, or I felt really isolated. And so we really had all of these dreams and ideas and goals that we wanted for ourselves. But 2018 was all about doing the inner work to clear the space, to set the stage, to lay the foundation for those things to be called into reality and to be built. So 2019 is all about, what were the things that you were dreaming of? Because this is the year that we begin to put them into action. This is the year that we begin to move forward. This is the year that we are no longer in that internal place. And what I mean by that is 2018 was a lot of internal work. It was a lot of sitting. It was a lot of meditating. It was a lot of being. It was a lot of being present with our stuff, being connected to our stuff, being honest with ourselves about our stuff. And that will not change. We've always got to be honest and real with ourselves. But 2018 in many ways was all about the internal landscape. In 2019, we finally get to move out now and put these things into action. I had this moment a couple of weeks ago. I was putting together my new bed. I just got a new bed. And I was putting it together, and every single part of it, except for like the mattress and the pillows and the sheets, needed to be built from scratch. I ordered this platform bed with a beautiful fabric covered headboard. I had to order a box spring because the way that the bed was built, it needed a box spring. All I had was my mattress and my pillows, and everything else I had to build. And it all came in these boxes, and I sat down to put it together, and I was really super excited. But the more I opened it up, and the more parts I saw, and the more pieces I saw, and the more I really realized what I had undertaken, I started to get a little overwhelmed. I started to feel like, oh my God, can I do this on my own? Am I really going to be able to put all of this together? And of course I did. And of course it's beautiful. And I love my bed. I haven't had a big boy bed in years. But as I was putting it together, as I began to take it out of the box and line up all the pieces together and get those Allen wrenches, because of course it's all done with an Allen wrench. I just bought all these new power tools and I couldn't use any of them because I didn't have an Allen wrench setting on my drill. But I started to really think about it, and I allowed myself to be just really present with the experience. And what I realized was, oh my God, this is amazing. This is literally me building from the ground up, intentionally and mindfully and deliberately. I am putting together the piece of furniture that is going to hold me, that is going to support me, that is going to embrace me for the next, 5, 10, 15 years. Who knows how long this bed and this mattress will last. But I was very aware in that moment of, this is a lot of what 2019 is all about. Rolling up your sleeves, picking up the pieces, picking up the tools, and putting it together according to your standards. Putting it together according to your vision. Putting it together with what level of focus, what level of awareness, what level of commitment are you bringing to the things that you are getting your hands in? And once I started to see it through this perspective, it became very clear to me that every single moment, every single second, every single step that I had to take to get to putting this bed together was crucial to the success. Here's the thing. I am one that I never really liked to do my homework as a kid. I always wanted the results. I always wanted to see it. You know, it's funny because I was home with family for Christmas and we were wrapping gifts. My mother and I were wrapping gifts one night, and I was just wrapping it together, and I was like, I mentioned to her, I said, I've never really been good at wrapping gifts, and I don't know why. I'm a very creative person. I'm very detail oriented. I've got a bazillion planets in Virgo. This should be something that comes really easily for me. I don't know why my gifts never end up looking as great as I want them to. And she said, because you don't take your time. She said, you've always been that kid who was so interested in getting there. You always wanted the finish line. You always wanted the destination. You always wanted to see the finished product, and the process was never really that interesting to you, which is ironic because I have found myself over the past couple of years being fascinated by process, being so interested in how things are built. The point of this is to say that as I sat there putting my bed together, I really had this moment of realization in that this is not about rushing to the finish line of the finished product of the bed so that I can just feel satisfied and good and have the work done. This is about pouring myself, all of my awareness, all of my presence into each and every moment and each and every step of building this bed. And I did. And it was amazing, and it was fascinating, and it was so rewarding now to see this bed complete and finished and gorgeous and beautiful, and here it is, and I built it. I built it. And it is a perfect metaphor, because what did I do? I sat down and I set the intention and I said, I want a bed. I said, I want a big boy bed. I want a grown-up bed. And I found the perfect one online and I ordered it right. I set up my intention to the universe. I clicked that button on overstock.com. And then what showed up? The cooperative components, the pieces that I needed, the information, the resources, and the stuff that I needed to build my dream showed up on my doorstep not 2 weeks later. And what was my initial response? Oh, I don't want to have to put it together. That's a lot of work. I didn't know that the box spring was going to come in pieces. I thought I was just going to be able to slap it together. But that to me is so apt in terms of what 2019 is all about. Think about what it was that you envisioned for yourself this past year. Think about what was it that you were so aching for. Think about what was it that you were dreaming of. What was it that you were working so hard towards? What was it that you so desperately wanted? What was it that the challenging circumstances of 2018 inspired you to say, this is what I want now. I am done with that. No more of this. This is what I'm moving towards, because 2019 is all about putting it together. I promise you that this year will deliver to you the resources, the components, the pieces, the parts, the elements, the co-creators, the supporters, the connections, the synchronicity. It will bring all of it to you. And unless you are willing to roll up your sleeves and mindfully and deliberately and intentionally take action and begin to build the shit and put it together, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to get done. And here's the beautiful thing. We have been released from the internal pressure cooker experience that we had in 2018 because we needed that. We needed to have that experience. We needed that clarification. We needed that purification. Thumbs up, heart emoji if you feel that where you are right now is you are light years away from the version of yourself that you were looking at and dealing with a year ago. At the beginning of this year, think about what was it that you wanted in the beginning of 2018. Where was your head? Where was your mindset? And think of who you are now relative to that. Personally, I look at the version of myself that was stepping forward at the beginning of this year. I had no clue what was coming for me. But I look back now on the intensity of this year and I look and I say, you know what, man? There is not one corner of my inner landscape that has not been explored. I am so clear on now who I am, what I carry with me, and what all of that entails. So the question now for 2019 is, and I've got some notes here, do your actions and your choices line up with your visions and your dreams? That is to say, if you spent most of 2018 dreaming about being more successful, or dreaming about having more abundance, or dreaming about being in a relationship, or dreaming of living in a world that was more peaceful or more joyful or whatever, If that's what you spent 2018 focused on and trying to create and pull into form, 2019 then is the year where you take action on it. You take steps forward. You choose it. And if you are not the one that is creating aligned with your beliefs and your desires, you are going to watch that shit fall apart so fast, man, it won't even get out of the driveway. Here's what I mean by that. If you believed that what you wanted more than anything was to be successful, it is time now for you to act as if you are successful. Success, abundance, happiness, joy, relationships, physical fitness, mental health, all of this, physical health, all of it begins really with a mindset. And I'm not talking about, like mental health in terms of having issues, or physical health in terms of having injuries or debilitating conditions. What I'm talking about is success, health, all of these things they don't begin with a thing, right? Success is not about how much money I have in the bank. Success is a mindset. And while a successful person may have $5 in their hand, they are going to see that $5 as an opportunity. Someone who perhaps doesn't believe in their own power, someone who perhaps doesn't believe in their own success, someone who perhaps is still in that victim, powerless, I can't do it, the world is against me mindset, would see $5 as a curse. They would say, all I have is $5. I can't get anything for $5. A successful person would look at that and go, man, $5. What can I do with $5? What would a successful person do about their financial situation? They would look at it as an opportunity to rise to the occasion. They would look at it as an opportunity to find how far and how big and how grand they could make that $5 be. Do you see what I'm saying? So this isn't no longer about looking at the external world and saying the external world defines me. This is about now looking at the external world and saying, all right, I've got all of these pieces and all of these parts. And whether or not it's what I thought was going to show up at my doorstep, this is what I have. And a successful person does not allow external circumstances to dictate to them who they are, what they are, and what their potential or their success is. A successful person looks at what is in front of them and says, all right, man, this is what I'm working with. This is what I have. What can I build with this? It's funny, I watched E.T. a couple of nights ago with my sister. We love to watch movies. My family, we're a big movie watcher family. So we were sitting in her living room, and we were, it was late at night. We were watching TV, and E.T. came on, and I hadn't seen E.T. in years. And one of the things that I was so struck by is how E.T. took an umbrella, a piece of tinfoil, a Texas Instruments Speak and Spell or See and Say or whatever it was, and a record player, and he made a frickin' satellite. He made a way to communicate with his star family, with his brothers, with his team, with his crew, way out in the universe, wherever they are, out of toys, out of household items, out of things that he found in the kitchen. The point of this is to say, do not let what shows up become a curse. Do not let what shows up or what is present be a limitation. Choose to put on the perspective of one who is successful and say, look what I have. Everything that I require is present. And as I continue to move forward and claim and own and take ownership and responsibility for what is present, then the next piece shows up, and the next piece shows up, and the next piece shows up. Need a coffee break. So who do you know yourself to be now? Who do you know yourself to be now? What is the vision you have had for yourself? And do your actions line up with that vision? If you are saying that you wanted to live in a world that is more peaceful, and you wanted to live in a world where nature and the planet is given more priority, then that is your intention for 2019, to act, to choose, to move as one who creates peace, to make choices that align with your desire to see a world that puts the health of the planet and nature at the top of the list. And you do that in whatever way it feels appropriate to you. But I can't sit here choosing one thing and saying that I want something else. If I'm continuing to show up and make poor choices or choose from the pain or the wound or whatever, if I'm continuing to choose the old way, then I can no longer say that I don't want it. Right? The first time I choose something, I can say, well, it was a mistake. I didn't know. But when you know better, you do better. And if I continue to show up and choose over and over and over again the things that hurt me, the things that deplete me, the things that dishonor me, the things that insult me, then I have nobody to point the finger at but myself and say, well, the first time I did it, I didn't know. And I did it and I got the result and I decided that I didn't like it. All right, girl, well then what's the excuse for the next 20 times you chose it? If you're saying that you don't like it, why do you keep choosing it? If you're saying you want the new bed, why are you so resistant and reluctant to putting the pieces together? Do you feel me? Do you get me? Thumbs up, heart emoji, poop emoji, unicorn. I don't care if you feel me, if you understand the point of this, what I am saying to you. Whatever you have been working towards, journaling about, dreaming of, visioning on, meditating on, it is time to move forward through that lens of awareness. Allow the fullness of yourself to choose. Allow the fullness of your non-physical creator self, higher self, soul self to be present as it projects itself through your physicality. Choose it. It starts with the mindset. Who do I know myself to be now? What do I want for myself now? What is it that I have been saying that I want? And what am I willing to do to honor that desire? What am I willing to do to honor that vision? What am I willing to choose? What am I willing to put into action to give me the thing that I have been saying that I want so badly? To bring to me the thing that I have been saying that I am. I cannot in one hand hold my desire to be a successful individual and in the other hand continue to choose the things that stand in the way of my success. One of my big dreams for 2019 and one of my big goals and intentions is to do more classes and do more workshops. And I was thinking about this back around November, around the 11/11 energy gathering. I started to think about, okay, what is it that I really want to call in for myself? And classes and workshops and doing more group stuff was on my priority list for 2019. And I started, I started to think about like, okay, what do I need to do? All right, I need to call some bookstores and I need to find some places and I need to find some venues and I need to find, and it started to feel so overwhelming and so big and it started to shut me down and I started to pull back and say, well, maybe I can't do it. Maybe 2019 isn't the year. But then I thought, wait a minute, no, stop. Right here, right now, what are my resources? I've got an internet connection, I've got a laptop, and I've got a Zoom account. That's all I need to do my classes and workshops. Just because I don't have access to the venues yet, or I don't have it, called the bookstore yet to get on their calendar, doesn't mean that I can't do a group event, doesn't mean that I can't do a class or a workshop. I literally have everything that I need right here, right now in front of me to do a class or a workshop, and I don't need to buy anything new, I don't need to do anything new. Hell, I even already have the content for it. I've already done this workshop, and now all I gotta do is split it up into 3 2-hour increments, do it over the course of 3 Sundays in a row, bam, boom, it's done. I already have it. It's been sitting here right in front of me, and all I had to do was acknowledge it, accept it, and begin to act as if I am already doing those classes and workshops. I'm telling you, everything that you need is right in front of you. And as you proceed towards it, the additional resources, the additional support, the additional circumstances that you require will show up. Clarity comes through action. Clarity comes through the fullness of your presence in the moment right now. This is no longer about sitting and trying to figure it out. Sure, take a minute and get clear on what you want. Sure, take a minute and really open it up and say, okay, what is it that I really desire for myself right now? What is it based upon all that I have gone through in the past year that I am really ready for and that I am willing to claim? We can never receive anything that we have not already claimed for ourselves. I say this all the time, and you've heard this. This is not my saying, but you pray for patience. God doesn't give you patience. God gives you an opportunity to be patient. If I want a world where everyone gets a seat at the table, where nature and the planet are put as a priority, then I need to start making those choices right now. I need to start acting from that place right now, because the more that I choose it and the more that I act from it, the more that I receive the circumstances and the opportunities and the synchronicities that support me in that choice. So, if I want to be successful, How will I choose that? How would successful Andrew choose that? How would the most successful version of myself that I can imagine, that I can muster, that I can envision, how would I do that? If I was already the successful person that I want to be, how would I act? If I was already the person who loves themselves and care for themselves, how would I act? If I was already the person who has all the financial abundance that they need, how would I act? And it's not about saying, well, a financially successful person will go out and spend money on whatever they want and all I have is $5. No, wrong. A successful person will look at what they have and find a way to make that enough. A successful person will take what they have and find a way to use that as the building block, the stepping stone, the first thing that they begin to move towards from that place of success. A successful person realizes that success does not start out as an external gain. It starts as a mindset and a belief, and how we choose and act from that mindset and from that belief determines what we get in return. Act like you want to be. Act like you want to be. Act like you wish you were. Act like you hope to be. Act like the thing that you want. And I'm not saying this is about magical thinking and saying, well, all I have to do is put a big picture of a house on my vision board and then just wait for it to show up. No, I've got to move through the world as the person who already has the thing that they want. And even though it may not be present in my physical reality right now, that doesn't mean that it's not coming. Oftentimes, the biggest challenge to getting what we want is to maintain the belief that it's already here before it has manifested in physicality. But I'm telling you, me sitting on my ass and waiting for my bed to show up is not what was going to make the bed show up. Me accepting that the bed showed up in the way that it showed up, and now it's my job to put it together according to the pieces that I have been given relative and in response to the thing that I said I wanted, right? I already set the intention out. I want a bed. I want a big boy bed. I want it to look like this. I want it to have these features. And then bam, 2 weeks later, it showed up on my doorstep. And now I'm the one that's responsible and accountable for putting it together. And guess what? It was even missing some pieces. I even had to go to Home Depot and get 6 screws, which added like another hour to my day. But you know what? That's what I had to do. That's what was required of me. And what did I get in the end? The perfect frickin' bed, or more precisely, the bed that was perfect for me. So 2019, what kind of world do you want to live in? Start taking action that moves the mark on that now. What kind of life do you want to wake up in? Start taking action that moves the mark on that now. And here's the simple question that you can ask yourself. If I were what I say I want to be, if I had what I say that I want to receive, how would I act? How would I choose? And when we don't know, and when it's not clear, and when we're confused or overwhelmed, guess what we do? We go back to the feeling. This is what the emotional architecture is all about. The only reason I ever choose anything is because of how I think it will make me feel. That's one of the keys to the human experience, is that we use our emotions to create. And the only reason, the primary reason that we ever choose anything, from what I wear to what I eat to who I marry to where I live to where I work, is because of how I think it will make me feel. I'm searching for an emotional or an energetic response. That's the payoff that I want. So when I put that first, when I say, well, what I want is to be successful. So I'm going to really find a way to tap into the feeling and the energy of success. What does success mean to me? What does it feel like to me? What is the feeling or the vibration or the frequency of success? And when I find that, I can begin to choose that, even when my current circumstances don't reflect success. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. It all starts with what I think about myself, what I think I can have, what I think I'm capable of, and I let that be the foundation from which I choose and act. One more sip of coffee. Oh my God, I'm almost out. So we talk a little bit about numerology too. 2019 is a 3/12 year. If you reduce 2019, it reduces to 12, which if you further reduce goes to 3. And 12 and 3 have very similar vibrations. Number 3 is about growth and expansion. 1 is the seed. This is very simplified. And if you're curious about numerology, you can do your own research. But 1 is the seed. 1 is the first step. 1 is the thought. 2 is the sprout. 2 is I begin to see results. 3 is the growth and expansion. So this year has been an 11-year or a 2-year. The year before that was a 1-year. So here we are in the completion of this 3-year cycle. 3 is the year that I begin to grow and expand. 12 is all about creativity. 12 is all about self-expression. 12 is all about being self-sufficient and living the life I want with very little interference or determination from what's happening out here. 12 is the year that says, you know what? This is how I want to express myself. This is what I know to be true for myself. This is what I want, and this is what I choose, so this is how I'm going to move. And when I move from that assumption of I am already successful, there is already a version of me that is doing exactly what it is that I want to do. So all I have to do is tap into that energy and say, okay, the version of Andrew that is teaching classes and workshops and doing more group stuff, what would he do? He would start with the lowest hanging fruit. He would say, I already got everything I need to create workshops and classes, and I don't need anything other than what I already have. And that's how I would proceed. That's how successful Andrew, who is doing workshops and groups and classes, that is how he would move. So you got to find a way to tap into the energy and the frequency of what it is that you want and move from there now. There's another key piece here that I think is super, super crucial for 2019, and that is remembering the truth of who and what we are. We are eternal. We are infinite. We are an aspect of all that is that has chosen to individuate itself as Andrew or Bob or Karen or Susie or whatever your name is. But Andrew is a temporary circumstance. Andrew is a temporary condition of my infinite nature. And my infinite self, my creator self, my true self has said, I want to be Andrew for this lifetime because I've never known what it's like to be Andrew. And I want to have all the experiences and learn and grow and expand through all the experiences that Andrew will have. So I am going to focus myself into physicality. I am going to take the eternal infinite nature that I am, and I am going to focus it into an experience and a body and a being and a personality called Andrew, and I am going to sit here and I am going to watch myself through his perspective. I am the hands and the breath and the eyes and the body and the mouth and the voice of the divine. I am how the divine knows itself as Andrew. I am the hands of the divine. When I am picking something up, when I am tasting something, when I am smelling something, when I am hearing something, I am the way that the divine does that. Because without Andrew, the divine would never know what it is like to be Andrew. So here is what is really important, and this is where Jumanji comes in. I don't know if you've seen the most recent one. I think it's Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle. And the whole idea is that they get sucked into this video game and then they have to play these avatars, these characters, and they're still themselves in terms of their personality, but they've got a different body and they've got different goals and they've got some things that they need to complete so that they can move through the game and then move on. Dude, like if that is not a perfect metaphor for what we are, I am not Andrew. I am the consciousness that has chosen the experience of Andrew to live and breathe and work through. So here's the key for 2019. Do not forget. Do not forget. Remember as often as you can to see yourself from that higher perspective. To remember that everything that you look at and touch and taste and feel and experience is happening in that way and in those exact circumstances for the first time ever. And that your job is to play the game. Your job is to play the role that you dropped into. My job is to be the best version of Andrew that I can be. My job is to be the clearest, purest, truest, most aligned, most honest, most authentic version of Andrew that I can be. And that has nothing to do with what is going on out here. This is the primary reality. The internal space is the genesis for everything. This is the secondary reality. And everything out here is absolutely 100% dictated by what is going on in here. And how does it start? With my mindset, with my belief. I used to do this exercise in some of my workshops and classes when I would work with groups, as we would go outside and I would say, okay, We're just going to stand in this parking lot or on the street corner or whatever. And for 5 minutes, I want everyone just to write down what they observe. Everyone's standing in the same place. Everyone's looking at the same experience that's happening out here. And I just want you to write down what you observe. And then we would go back into the class after 5 minutes or whatever, and we would share what was happening. And every single person out of 15, 20 people, every single person had a different experience. One person would say, yeah, I saw that woman sitting on the bench in the blue sweatshirt and she was really upset. And another person would say, yeah, I saw that woman in the blue sweatshirt sitting on the bench and she was hilariously laughing. She was having a great time. I saw one person would say, I saw that woman sitting on the bench in this blue sweatshirt and she was so angry, she was so upset. That is to say that it all begins with your mindset and your perspective. And whatever it is that you believe, whatever it is that you project onto your experience is what creates it. We would go outside and I would have 15 different versions of what the woman in the blue sweatshirt was experiencing, and all of them were true and none of them were true. And the only thing that dictated whether or not that was happening was the person who reported it and their perspective and their belief from which they were experiencing. Those who do not believe in magic will never see it. It doesn't mean that it's not happening. It's just that if I am not focused on it, if I am projecting that magic is not real into every experience of my life, then that's the reality that I will get. So who do you believe yourself to be? What is it that you know about yourself now that you did not know a year ago? And how does that inform and influence the choices that you make? If I believe that I am successful, if I believe that I am worthy of love, if I believe that I am strong, then it's time for me to start choosing from that belief. If I am all about self-love and taking care of myself, I can no longer choose the things that deplete me and are toxic and are bad for me, because I just can't get happy, joy, and healthy out of choices that don't support happiness, joy, and health. That's as simple as it gets. It's not about what I have, it's about what I believe about what I have. It's what I feel about what I have. $5 to a person who does not believe in their own ability and power and success will never be enough. $5 for a person who knows that they are powerful, who knows that they are infinite, who knows that they have everything that they need in this moment right now, $5 is the beginning of an empire. $5 is all they need. So don't get it twisted and think that your circumstances dictate your experience. Your circumstances show up in response to your mindset. Your circumstances, by the time something is in physical form, it is old fucking news. The minute that this pen was completed, it began to deteriorate. This pen in physical form is old fucking news. You know what the impetus of this pen was? Whenever this was created, the idea of what that was the beginning of this pen was the thought, was the choice, was the belief, was the figuring out how do I call this into form? And by the time it shows up, it's already done. It's already done. So choose who you are. Decide who you are. Accept the truth of who and what you are and choose from them. It is meditation in action. It is vision in action. It is dreams, desires in action. It is choosing what you want to see, oftentimes before it's even present. I didn't get a bed. I got a bunch of fucking pieces that required me to do a lot of work to create a bed. But I had everything that I needed. And as I proceeded down the path and I came to a point where, oh, wait, I didn't even get enough bolts in this order. I got to go find some bolts. Then I went out and I sourced what I need and I found it. And what did I do? I came back and I continued. So I promise you that what you want already exists. The fact that you desire it is evidence that it already exists. And now it is starting to call you forward with those little GPS pings saying, hey, the version of your life that you want is over here. And I'm knocking on your door to let you know where it is so that you can decide how you're going to get there. Here's the other thing as we wrap up. 2019, for many of us, for those of us who have not been consciously awake and aware of what's really going on and who we really and truly are, 2019 is going to be so intense. it is going to be filled with disappointment. It is going to be filled with frustration. It is going to be filled with disillusionment. Because think about where you were and what happened to you when you first woke up. Think about what happened when you realized, like, oh man, none of this is the fucking thing that I thought that it was. All of this is something completely and totally different, and I'm the one that's responsible for all of it. Fuck, that sucks. I mean, I think that predominantly the beginning of a spiritual experience is going, man, I wish that I didn't know this. Why can't I just be happy and content with, working in some basic job and having a basic life and being a basic person? Why do I have to know how powerful I am? Because now that I know how powerful I am, I have to actually exercise it. And I don't want to do that. I want to go back to the comfort zone. I want to eat chips and smoke pot and watch Netflix. That's what I want to do. I want to have sex with random strangers. I want to party. I want to get drunk and wasted, right? I can't do that anymore because now it doesn't align with who I am. And once I know better, I have to do better. So 2019 for a lot of people is going to be terrifying. It's going to be one of those what the fuck just happened to me lives, because some people need a really loud alarm to wake up. So our job as those who are aware of the truth of who they are, as those of us who know who and what we really are and where we come from, we are responsible for holding space for those who are just waking up. We are all in this together. No, it's not about proselytizing. No, it's not about preaching. It's not trying to convert anybody or convince anybody of anything. It's about living through the clarity of your example and saying, yeah, man, I know it sucks. I remember when I had my spiritual awakening a couple of years ago and I lost everything. My life imploded. Everything that I thought I knew and that I could count on disappeared and fell apart. And I had to start from ground zero. That is what many people are going to experience in 2019. And it is our duty. It is our job as those who now know better to be an example of how to do better. So choose from compassion, choose from love, choose from sovereignty, choose from individuality, choose from authenticity and truth. And when you don't know what to do, be an example. When you don't know what to do, just be present and listen. All people want is to be seen. We all want the same thing. We want to be loved. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to know that we count. We want to know that we matter. We want to be safe. We want to feel included. We all want the same thing. It doesn't matter who I voted for or what my ideology is or what I eat or what I wear or what I look like. The only reason we're picking anything is because of how we think it will make us feel anyway. And when we acknowledge that and realize that we understand that that's why we're choosing is because we think it's going to make us feel a certain way. So tap into that truth. Be an example of how you did it. You want to heal the world, heal yourself, and then share with people how you did it. So that's what 2019 is all about. Clarity no longer comes from sitting and meditating and thinking. That's part of it, right? We got to get clear, right? I got to find the silence and the stillness so that I know what the truth feels like and sounds like. But at some point, once I found it, now it's time to put it into action through choice. Through belief, through moving from that place. I asked for patience, and now I have an opportunity to be patient. And everyone is going about it in the way that they know how to do it. Everyone's going about it in the way that is best for them. And I don't have to understand it. I don't have to believe it. I don't have to agree with it. But I can be present. I can be compassionate. I can be loving. And also including myself there, right? So when boundaries are breached or someone crosses the line and say, hey, wait, no, that's not okay. I'm not accepting that. I understand why you came from that place. I understand why you moved from that place, but that's not okay with me. You can do what you want, but once you see what I'm saying, so get clear. Start to move from that place. Start to choose from that place. Start to live from that place. And then watch and see what happens. Because miracles are when our direction aligns with our desire. When I trust what's calling me forward, and when I trust what's unfolding in my experience is always bringing me closer to what it is that I came here to do, then I can allow it to unfold. I can allow myself to be guided. I can allow myself to receive the pieces and the parts that I need to build the thing that I said that I wanted. And just because it doesn't look like what I thought it would, or sound like what I thought it would, or smell or taste what I thought that it would smell, or taste like doesn't mean that it's not what I wanted. I got to tune into the feeling. I got to tap into it. And now, you know what? That bed that I'm sleeping in feels exactly like I thought that my dream bed would. No, it didn't show up completely put together. No, I did not show up effortlessly in terms of, yeah, I got to put in some blood, sweat, and tears here. I mean, let's be honest, it wasn't that big of a deal. It's putting a fucking bed together. It's not like I'm curing cancer. But the point of this is to say, I allowed myself to accept what was in front of me, and I used it to create what I wanted. And guess what? It feels exactly like I thought it would. The experience lines up 100% with the vision and the dream that I had for my bed. So there you go. Rent fucking Jumanji, buy a new bed, and put it to fucking together yourself. And there's 2019 for you in a nutshell. Thank you so much for giving me your time and attention on this beautiful Sunday. Again, next Sunday is the January energy transmission. Sign up, it's going to be major. They always are. They're wonderful. The emotional architecture workshop is open for registration. That is the 3 final Sundays in January. So January 6th is the energy transmission. Then January 13th, 20th, and 27th are the emotional architecture. And Mastery Mentorship is still running at the discounted rate. So if you sign up within the next 2 days, book your intake call within the next 2 days. I will grandfather you in. If you book within the next 2 days, then we can get going, because as of January 1st, the price goes back up to the full rate. I love you so much. I am so honored by your willingness to listen to me and give me your time and attention. Thank you for the support. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your faith. Thank you for the time. It is a privilege to be able to share with you in this way. I cannot wait to see what 2019 has in store. Let's get to it. It's gonna be major. Love you guys. Mwah. Have a happy Sunday, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.